2024 independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. denied reports that he could be Donald Trump's vice president if elected.
I have to ask, the latest speculation is that maybe you would be the VP for Trump. Would you ever do that?
I don't think that my marriage would survive it.
I think he's right.
Just president. That's all you want.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
RFK also appeared on Fox News yesterday to discuss his presidential run and his chances as an independent in this election year.
Is the two-party system broken?
It's definitely broken, and I think more and more people are seeing how corrupt it is. And the corruption is increasing. You know, there was Bernie Sanders, some of Bernie Sanders' followers sued the Democratic Party a couple of years after 2016 in federal court.
Right.
And for fixing the vote against Bernie. And the federal judge said, yeah, it is against their own rules. They violated their own rules, but they are a club and they're allowed to do that. Mm. And that ruling gave the party, empowered the party with permission, because before that they were at least pretending to be neutral in elections and to not fix the outcome. And now they have no restraints, and you've got, all this corporate money pouring into them, from these big military contractors, from the pharmaceutical companies, and both parties are receiving the money from the same groups, and it's fixed against it's rigged against the American public.
Of course, the system is such that you've got to get ballot access on all 50 states. We're just about out of time for the segment. Are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah, we will be in all 50 states and the District of Columbia.
And speaking of Bernie Sanders, Democratic strategist James Carville said the Vermont senator is one of the reasons that Trump won in 2016.
I don't want to relitigate 2016, but Bernie Sanders is one of the reasons that Trump is there. I think this is great that Nikki Haley is saying, our hats off to these Republican donors that continue to support her when, obviously she doesn't have that much chance, but every day that she's in there, every day that she's on the attack is a good day.
What's incredible there, I mean, apart from saying, I don't want to relitigate 2016, but let me relitigate 2016, is that he's making this backhanded compliment that just like Bernie was a spoiler in 2016, Nikki Haley is going to be a spoiler for Biden.
I don't know that either things are true. What's the evidence that...
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's the idea that, first of all, Bernie Sanders in 2016 voted for Hillary Clinton in higher numbers and a higher percentage than Hillary voters in 2008 when she lost the primary, voted for Barack Obama. More Hillary voters in 2008 held out because, for whatever reason, they didn't like Barack Obama than Bernie Sanders supporters, which overwhelmingly fell in line and voted for Hillary Clinton.
I think it's that she didn't campaign in the two states she ended up losing. But
right. Moreover,
galaxy brain take.
Right. Moreover, comparing Nikki Haley, who's 60 points behind in the polls, to Bernie Sanders, who got 44% of the primary vote in 2016 and came very close to winning and might have, frankly, won, but for the DNC shenanigans that RFK Jr. was alluding to, where in their own lawsuit, the DNC argued that it had a right to rig the primary in favor of its preferred candidate. Who knows what would have happened? So the comparison is ridiculous all over the place.
And there's no evidence, frankly, that Nikki Haley and what she's doing is hurting Trump at all from a general election standpoint. Maybe it's making him a little mad from day to day, but there's no real question he's going to beat her unless, again, something weird happens with the legal situation, which really has nothing to do with Nikki Haley's own efforts. There's no evidence this is dampening enthusiasm for Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. In fact, we had new polling this morning from Bloomberg Morning Consult. I think we can put that up, showing the polling, Trump's polling versus Biden. All states, he's up 6, and then specifically in the swing states, North Carolina, Trump plus 10, Nevada, Trump plus 8, Georgia, Trump plus 8, Wisconsin, Trump plus 5, Michigan, Trump plus 5, Pennsylvania and Arizona, Trump up just plus 3. So Trump's winning all of the swing states right now. Maybe there's time for Joe Biden. I guess I'd be looking at Arizona and Pennsylvania with a sliver of hope. But this is all good news for Trump. He's not like losing momentum. He's not even the candidate yet. Now, maybe when he becomes the candidate and the media focuses more on what he's saying, people will recall why they didn't want to vote for Trump in 2020. I guess that has to be the theory of Biden's campaign right now. But there's no evidence that he's suffering because of Nikki Haley. There's no evidence right now he's suffering at all. If the election were held today, he would win decisively.
There's just not a big enough slice of Republican voters that are interested in Nikki Haley right now to be that concerned about those voters not falling in line and voting for Trump or whoever the Republican nominee is. I mean, to the extent that she overperformed in New Hampshire, it was largely because so many Democrats in New Hampshire voted for her. She does very well with Democrats, and I don't even particularly mean that as a slight, but realistically speaking, it's just absurd to compare that to the Bernie phenomenon. One other point about the Bernie phenomenon is that if you really were concerned about beating Trump, polls in advance of the 2016 election showed that Bernie Sanders was up on Trump significantly, often like 10 points up compared to Hillary's 4 points up. Hillary remained within the margin of error in polling with Trump for all but about 2 weeks around the time of the Access Hollywood tape. It was close throughout, much closer than it should have been. So the idea that the DNC rigged the primary in favor of the candidate that was less likely to beat Donald Trump, and then you're going to blame the candidate who was running to actually have a chance of defeating Donald Trump is bizarre.
Hillary was both an incredibly weak candidate whose weaknesses were just not recognized by Democratic elites who were so blinded to that.
It was sexism, didn't you hear?
Right, that they told us over and over again. And then one of the worst run campaigns in terms of the demonization of half of the country, the refusal to campaign, and what ended up being, and what were clear, like that's not hindsight. It was clear ahead of time that those were going to be the swing states. Those were where working class Rust Belt voters were more pro-Trump, and people who'd voted for Obama twice were not sold on the Hillary message, and she just didn't campaign there.
Yeah, 100%.
Picked a total non-entity for VP. We could go. I'm sure that it's been litigated on the show many times.
I know. I'm sorry. This is like my bugaboo.
No. That's fair.
But before we move on, what did you make of Cheryl Hines's response to that reporter's question
cute.
about being VP?
I think they look cute together on TV. That's a very shallow thing to say about a political, but they're also celebrities. So, no, RFK Jr. has been very clear that he doesn't want to be part of the Trump ticket of the Trump administration or the Biden administration. He is running his own independent campaign for president, and Cheryl Hines supports him. We've heard a little bit from her on.
Do you think that kind of glib remark hurts him with a significant part of his base that I think likes both he and Trump?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if he this isn't a Vivek situation. If he liked Trump so much, why is he running against him? Mm-hmm. He has differences with Donald Trump and with Joe Biden. And he's going, and he's running obviously a lot of the, I guess, COVID mandate opposition. But on a lot of that's some of Trump's weakest issues with his own base is the perception that he, sold the country out to Dr. Fauci. So I don't think that's going to shake any Trump to RFK people.
Yeah, I just liked watching her jaw clench when the question was asked. All right, stick around. More Rising right after this.